When questing, if you are questing alone, make sure you use as many hires as possible. You can see I have 3 hirelings on my bar. What are these? Well, these are lag insurance, basically. You summon as many hirelings as you can. These other 2 are gold seals. And then you put them on aggressive. That way, if you lag out in a quest, or if your client crashes, for example, you have hirelings around you that will cast heals on you. Nimith is a really smart cleric. She's actually favorite soul. Who can heal me if I get disconnected. She can also kill anything that goes near me as long as she has mana. So it's a great insurance policy for the Hardcore League to have a cleric or a favorite soul hireling and to use it whenever you are soloing or short manning a quest. Most people who are, familiar with this game think that having hirelings makes you a worse player, but on Hardcore League, your number one goal is to survive, and you want to pad that as much as you can. So hirelings really, really help to even the odds out against SSG's notorious server lag. The next bit of advice that I would give you is to get yourself Greater Heroism Scrolls from House J if you can UMD them and use them as soon as you can. They also have some other useful scrolls that are good to have with you at all times once you qualify to use them, if you can cast them normally, or if you have UMD that allows you to cast them. And those are Spell Resistance, Restoration, and Heal. You definitely want to get Heal scrolls at level 9 if you can cast them. I actually need to go and purchase some. I have not done that yet. I have Cure Critical Wands, but I have not yet picked up my Heal scrolls. I will. And also the Restoration scrolls, if anybody gets innervated or loses levels, that is a really quick way to die, so you want to be able to restore somebody right away. Spell Resistance is great to have, and Greater Heroism, not only does it grant fear immunity and +4 to all skills, and it will also give you temporary hit points. So it's a win-win. The next bit of advice I have for you is for anybody who's in a guild, and this just happened. Do not go exploring the guild ship on the Hardcore League server. Save that for your live server. A friend of mine got to level 15 on his cleric and ran into the danger room because he had never seen it before, and he died on the Hardcore League. That's not something you want to do on the Hardcore League. Go and explore the ship on the live servers. It's too much time to don't make that mistake, because you'll feel really bad. The danger room is very dangerous. The next bit of advice I have is to do Tangleroot and qualify for the House P buffs. They cost a little money to put on you, but once you get them, they can be a lifesaver. They last for 30 minutes. You have to do all of Tangleroot to qualify. Tangleroot is a pretty easy farm. You can do it on Elite, and there's lots of groups running that. And, they'll run you through it. People have done Tangleroot hundreds of times. If you've never done it, you can Google it and watch videos on it. My next piece of advice is to get all of your immunities as fast as possible. So, what do I mean? Well, water breathing at level 1, feather falling at level 1. Feather falling is falling death immunity. Water breathing is drowning immunity. You want fear immunity at level 8. You want death block as soon as you can get it at level 1. People will say, hey, I don't need death block at level 1, but I recommend on the Hardcore League for you to get death block and have it on you at all times as soon as you can get it. If you can get it at level 1, get it at level 1, because you know what happens? Some of the mobs gain the ability to Vorpal you. Some of the mobs gain the ability to cast Slay Living. You don't want to make the mistake of all of a sudden entering content where that is happening and not have death block on. It happened to a friend of mine. He went out into a Slayer zone and didn't realize that the mobs there cast Slay Living. He didn't have death block on, and his level 8 character was killed. So you don't want to miss out on your immunities. Some classes are auto-granted immunities like disease immunity and poison immunity. but you want to get them as soon as you can. You can pick up disease immunity items, proof against disease, proof against poison. Proof against poison items are bugged in DDO. They don't really provide you with the bonus that's listed on the item. However, they do give you a bonus on the save versus poison, and there are some champions that will do poison dots on you that can be very nasty. So I always recommend having it if you can fit it into your gear. The next bit of advice I have for surviving the Hardcore League is to always carry a ranged weapon, a returning ranged weapon, so you can hit a lever, or if you are an archer, make sure you have arrows. If you are an inquisitive, make sure you have bolts. Just make sure that you can hit a lever, because there are many quests where you need to throw or shoot something to hit a lever or break a piece of wood or something like that to get to the next part of the quest. So really easy farm out of the Borderlands. You go get an ingot and turn it in for an ethereal or a silver returning throwing weapon. You can also farm those quartermaster chits out of the Salt Marsh if you have that. If you don't have access to either of those, you can keep your eye on the auction house, and also those returning weapons drop often, so you may find one, but just carry a stack of throwing daggers, for example, and you can buy those at most weapon vendors. The next bit of advice I have for you is, so you're in a quest and the quest completes. Don't run to the end chest to loot. Just finish out and leave. I have seen more people die when the quest was over and you got your favor and you're going for 5k and you decide to run through the quest to get the last chest because you weren't there when they killed the boss or whatever, something distracted you. No, just finish out, leave. No loot is worth it. No loot is worth starting over from scratch. Just leave. The 18th bit of advice that I have for you guys is don't run off on your own. If you're in a group, stay with the group. What can happen is you could red alert the dungeon and get everyone killed, or they could do that to you. You could be separated from them. All of a sudden an alert pops and now you're surrounded by mobs and you're swarmed and killed. So if you're in a group, stay with the group. Do not run off on your own. If you feel like they're not doing it the way that you want to do the quest, whether they're going too slow or too fast, just recall, leave, and go solo it, or find another group. Don't, run off and do your own thing and wind up getting yourself killed. The next bit of advice for surviving the Hardcore League server is to understand the event itself. The event itself, if you're going for 1750 favor or 5k favor Reaper XP, is designed around the idea that you can quest up to 4 levels higher. So if you have a quest that's level 1, you can enter it within 4 levels. So you would be able to go in, if you were level 5, into that level 1 quest and quest on elite, hard, or normal, or even casual if you wanted to. But if you took level 6, you would no longer be able to get into those level 1 quests, and that moves up the entire time you go. So if you are level 14, you can get into level 10 quests, but you cannot get into level 9 quests. So you need to plan ahead with your questing, the way that you do the quests. You always want to do the quest 4 levels over. There's no reason why you should be doing an elite quest at level on the Hardcore League server. Nobody is going to say that you're a wimp or that you don't know what you're doing. You're maximizing your survivability. So always make the odds in your favor. We have enough issues with lag. You want to go into the quest 4 levels over it on Elite. Unless you're Reaper questing, then you go into it 4 levels over on R1 or whatever your group decides to do. I see groups doing R4. A couple groups last season did R5, but at that point, you start spawning the Vengeance Reapers, and that's, in my opinion, not something that should happen on Hardcore League. But to each his own. If that's what you like to do, go for it. The last bit of advice I have for you guys to stay alive, Hardcore League Season 5, is... So here's the thing. We get lag all the time, and what I've noticed is lag occurs prime time Eastern. So that's about 4 p.m. Eastern Time to about 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And what does that mean? Well, that means that you're very likely to encounter lag in zones, in quests, We've seen it so that the client has actually froze for a minute. I've seen people's clients crash. You don't necessarily want to quest during those times, or at least don't quest on your main during prime time. Or any time that you notice the server's laggy, jump off your main and quest on an alt and maybe farm some gear, farm some platinum, farm some collectibles or some items or something else that you want to do. Practice running a quest that you are worried about before you go in it on your main. Try it on an alt and see how you do. Maximize your survivability on your main. Don't play if there's a lot of lag. You can always play later. The event is running for 2 months, so it ends February 1st. So you have plenty of time. One more piece of advice before we go is that I would say that it's always a good idea to run with Death Ward on. At level 3, if you own the Salt Marsh, you can farm an item that has 3 casts of a 10-minute Death Ward. It is a very good farm if you have Salt Marsh to go out there and get that item. It's a headpiece, and keep it with you. Make sure that you have Death Ward on yourself at all times. It doesn't help fighting beholders, but it does help fighting shadows and wraiths and other undead that can ability drains you and make you helpless and then kill you. Join us for more. I plan to do lore videos for each quest in DDO, as well as the raids. Plus, I will be releasing more Session 0 videos for DDO on topics such as player character races, the religions of Eberron, the Last War, and the Mournlands, the Dragon Marks, the Dragon Marked houses, and much, much more. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below. I like interacting with other players. My main tune in DDO is named Mary. I am on Sarlona. I also have a guild on the Hardcore League. My guild is Death Smile. Please say hi if you're on either of those servers. Subscribe to see more Adventure AI content about DDO, Dungeons & Dragons Online, and gaming in general. I also play Star Wars The Old Republic. You can join us at Adventure AI on Discord. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Twitter. You can go to our Patreon and become a patron of the channel, where you would get access to all of the scripts, the images, the music, the videos, as well as behind the scenes, and the ability to request topics for me to make future videos. Thanks very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope your adventures go well.